Good morning. Yours truly, Dolphy Gilpin, is here with you this morning. I'm at the Holiday Inn, the LAX Holiday Inn, bounded by the Cienega Blvd and Century Boulevard West. I'm here on the 11th floor, executive room. No, I purposefully paid for an executive room in alignment with exploring the executive dimension of the Amz5x12 matrix. So I took the necessary sacrifice to pay a little extra for an executive room to explore the executive dimensions, which as in previous, just leave implicit. But this morning I just want to expand a little bit on the explicit. The 12th column here, which is in most of my delivery being implicit, I've highlighted here by some dash going across the 12th column. We're going to expand on the 12th column a little bit more, representing the dimension of space. Now, as you know, space is a very complex domain, an unknown domain. We have discovered a lot about space, and yet there is still a lot to be discovered. NASA being the frontier of the space experiment and exploration. They have discovered planets and exoplanets and universes and multiverses via their instruments and instrumentation, their spacecraft, their rockets, their telescopes, and yet there are still a lot of undiscovered entities out there. So space is very complex, and it's in simplicity, the 12th column here represents the column of space in the Amz5x12 matrix. So I have projected the Amz5x12 matrix here in its general form, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and so on, M, N, O. And I've introduced also some Greek alphabets because I ran out of English alphabet. And here we started off with alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, nu, theta, phi, kappa, del, delta, and nu, and rho. And there are many others, but we have just chosen those for the moment. And so we have our Amz5x12 matrix here. And we have sort of show the space column a little bit more explicit here. And when we made the necessary algorithmic calculations, we also showed the space column. Now what I've done here is a simplified thing, because space, like I said, is a complex domain, complex dimension. You could go off into vector space and all of that, which would make it a bit more even complex for the average learner. Now I'm making reference here to a 71 to 74 page algorithm and mathematical proof that I've done so far and submitted in order to shorten my presentation here this morning. So those who are listening can make reference to the 71 to 74 page algorithm and mathematical proof of conditional infinity output, exponential output, conditional infinity output of the Amz5x12 matrix. And we have had a little visitor here making a bit noise. The heater and air conditioner is making a bit noisy, so we hope that it has not masked our presentation. Okay, so let's move this now and go on for a little bit more here. So as we said, now we made reference to our 71 to 74 page Amz5x12 matrix in order to shorten up our presentation here. And we have chosen now the GHI matrix from the previous one. Let's try to get it back here. This would have been the GHI matrix, GHI operator. And notice that we have the MNO operator, the JKL operator, the DEF operator, and the ABC operator. all with their space being relatively more explicitly shown. And so we have the GHI operator we have chosen, and we are doing some processing on it. So we took GHI and we took the first. We paired off some of the parameters here in paired. So the D, F, G, H, I, and then the JK are all paired off. LM, NO, PQ, Rs are in pairs. And we saw GHI, DE, and we operate and we get this 3x3 matrix plus the space column. We operate on the last one. Like I said, we are making reference to our 71 to 74 page submittal of the algorithm and mathematical proof for it, and we went through every detail of the processing in that 71. But right now we are making abridgment, and so we are choosing the last two here, the DE and the new row. And so we have a new row here, and we operate and we get this 3x3. So we chose one of these two 3x3s here now, paired the matrix, and we have GHI, DE, NO, and we operate and we get delta, phi, delta, del, delta, and epsilon, zeta, and new rho as or 2x2. So we have NO, and we choose the last one because, like I said, the 71 to 74 page submittal of the mathematical proof has made every detail process and calculation of these process that we're going through now. So we're not going through that long 71-4 page, but we're making reference to it. And so we pull out and we get GHID new P as we choose the last two, and we get this 2x2 period plus the expanded space column that we are highlighting in this presentation. Likewise, you come over, we choose GHI new row, and the last one, which is phi delta, the connector delta, and we get DE, LM, FG, NO as the elements, the period elements of this 2x2 plus the space column represented by dash. And we chose the first and the last. We get GHI new row DE, and we get NO, PQ, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, 2x2. And so we have come down to 2x2, and remember we are exploring the executive dimensions of this, the space dimensions, which have been left implicit in over the years, over now that there's going into the 6th year of our presentation here in the United States. And then we are not counting back the time when it was latent back in the 1980s, because these things existed when I was doing my economic management course. We had this thing going, probably not by a 5x12, but we had these matrix and matrices going, and these calculations were made in vector space and by vector. And coincidentally, the instructor professor of that class name was Victor Glass. That's a coincidence. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but that was his name from CCNY. And that was a management economic course. Mark, what was the title of that course? Management economics, something with management economics, right? However, back then I had not yet personally, I did it as a coursework, explore it for myself, and in this exploratory, experimental, and realization process that I'm doing it now. I've made countless of books, hundreds of books, notebooks from this, demonstrating the frictionless conditional infinity output of this matrix process. And so we have 2x2, and then we could go to the 1x11, 1x12 by completing the processing of these 2x2s. And for the more experienced processor, we could start doing it from the 3x3s. I usually start doing it from the 3x3 and leave out the 2x2 yeah, just because of experience there, you know, I could take it from a 3x3 and move it straight to the 1x11, 1x12. But others who can't do it that way can go to the 2x2s and then go to the 1x11, 1x12 to get the original configuration. So there's it. We have highlighted now our space vector column, our space column, and we have made comparison and symbolization, comparative symbolization to space being the complex domain, the unknown domain that is still being investigated by NASA. And every day we are coming up with something new in space there. And we have not yet been able to even send a human to some of those planets that have been discovered for so long a time. From I was born, I was hearing of these 9 planets, and we have yet to even send a human there. We don't know how we'll get there, but we know that space and the domain of space was created by the Almighty Holy Creator, infinitely intelligent one, and He has His plan and His way for humanity to get there. And so in the due course of time, we will relate and get there. Probably not in the same body, but whatever He chooses, so let it be. But that's another field of presentation when we go into that sort of dimension there. So I will just leave that and make an abridgment here for further analysis of this 12th column, the space vector column. So with this, I am going to take a leaf and return with some more of the Amz5x12 matrix. Thank you so much.